All right, so I am going to make, I hope you guys enjoyed that intro music that was made by a good friend of mine and past and current business partner of mine. I'm gonna be linking his YouTube site in my videos coming up. He's gonna be making some music and hopefully some songs for some of the titles that I'm gonna be doing for the channel. There's so many videos that I want to make. And I'm in the process, just so you guys know, I'm in the process of getting better equipment. Obviously, the camera on my first video was a little bit blurry, and I had spoken so long that I didn't want to redo it. But I'm going to be making improvements, as all, people that work on YouTube and influencers do, if you want to call them influencers. I want to come to you guys humbly, always with my point of view, my perspective. I'm always open to correction if you can show me biblically where things are said that I'm wrong. And I always listen to people's opinions on other things, and I don't want to come with a fierce sense or position of authority. Not that there's not a level of authority that should be presented. Things should not be always presented in a weak fashion. I think sometimes certain things are very firm. As you saw earlier on screen, I showed a map of the promised land. And this video is the first of a few videos that I'm going to be making with regards to the future war prophetic timelines that are about to happen. I put out a video a couple days ago, and there are some things that I need to correct about it that was wrong. One of those being like Jordan is peaceful. I believe that Ammon and Jordan will be and is referenced in prophecy after recent studies. It will be an aggressor in the coming war that's about to take place. That's, culminating and beginning with what's going on right now in Gaza with Israel. The title of this video is going to be called Chariots of Fire. That's an operation that took place in Israel last year, and it was one of the largest operations military-wise that they've done in recent military history for them. Maybe their largest exercises ever. It was done in coordination with some of the U.S. forces. There are also mentions of an operation beyond the horizon, which kind of leads to the possibility of some of the prophecies that are mentioned with regards to Persia or Iran. So let me just go over some of the some of the things that I wrote down that I want to share with you guys. I'm gonna go over some of the milk and also mixed with meat. So hopefully, when I say milk and meat, it's in reference to babes in Christ. So when I say that, I mean people that are just coming to faith, or they don't have as an in-depth knowledge base for prophecy and what's occurring in the world. So they'll be, like babies, they drink milk when they first come out of the womb. As you get older, as the babies grow in faith, they start to have the ability to consume meat. And that's what the term milk or babes in Christ, and then milk versus meat in the consumption of the prophecies or knowledge or discussions with regards to what's going on. So I'm going to try to mix it so that way I can bring other people up to speed on the ideologies, and then also keep those that are further along in the faith interested. So let me go on with my presentation. So the prophetic war events to come which I believe have not yet come and have not yet been fully fulfilled, are going to be Psalm 83, the prophecy of Elam, which is Iran, Jeremiah 49, and that's verses 34 through 39, Isaiah 17, and Ezekiel 38 and 39. Those are the prophecies of war events that I want to discuss. There's another war event that will happen after the millennial reign of Christ that I want to also go over and discuss. That will be part of this series as well. So going specifically right away to Psalm 83, which is what I believe the events that are occurring now, and obviously today is October 17th, 2023. I want to go over the events that are occurring currently in Israel and in Gaza and Palestine. And I want to read all of the events I believe that I mentioned, the Psalm 83, the prophecy of Elam, which is Iran or Persia, Jeremiah 49, 34 through 39, Isaiah 17, and Ezekiel 30 and 39. I believe all of those events are going to hit boom, 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 boom. Consequentially, they'll start to hit. And there are prophecies involved in all of them that are we're going to see, I call them foreshadowing events. And they're like a mixture of kind of like what we're seeing now with regards to what's going to happen in end times prophecy. A lot of you guys may know Paul Begley, Pastor Paul Begley. He did a series years back that had to do with water turning to blood, and that's a prophetic foreshadowing of some of the events that are going to take place in the book of Revelation. That's just some examples. I like to also call them mile markers to the fulfillment of things. Like if you drove across Texas or across the United States, you'll know that, from one end of the state to the other, it starts out at a high number. And as you come closer to the border of the next state, it'll go down to zero. So let me read some of these Bible verses and discuss it with you guys. So this is the prophecy of Elam, Jeremiah 49, 34 through 39. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might, and upon Elam will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and I will scatter them towards all those winds, and there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies and before them that seek their life, and I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord, and I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam, and I will destroy from thence the king and the princes, saith the Lord. But it shall come to pass in the latter days, in the last days, that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, saith the Lord. That's Jeremiah 49, 34 through 39. And Elam is speaking of Iran. And if you've been paying attention to what the current events in Gaza and Israel, between Hamas and Israel, you'll know that Iran has recently threatened to take action if Israel doesn't stop what they're doing in Gaza. So this is definitely a clear timeline for Iran becoming involved and the prophecy of Elam being fulfilled. Now, Isaiah chapter 17, that talks about the destruction of Damascus. And Damascus is the capital of Syria. As you know, there was a war in Syria, which Russia protected Assad, the president or leader of Syria. So when people are trying to say that Russia or Putin is not Gog and from the far north, I don't see how they don't understand that Russia, China, Iran, they don't have a better opportunity than now, time-wise, militarily speaking, for the weakness of the United States to attack. So I don't see them foregoing this opportunity to make an attempted move on things. I believe what's going to happen with Israel is there's going to be a lot of grave things that are going to occur, and they're going to be attacked by many Arab and Muslim nations in the region, and I think that's going to occur very quickly. I think we're going to see things speed up and hasten. I don't think we're going to see a pause like we have seen in times past. I think things are going to get very, very chaotic very soon. There's a video on YouTube that I'll link down to my video by a man by the name of Bill Salus, S-A-L-U-S. He runs prophecydepot.com. He wrote several books, and there's a great video he put out, I believe it's like 10 months ago, that talks about all of these events. I highly urge everyone to go watch it. That doesn't mean that I'm saying everything he says I agree with. I'm just saying he's very informed on the subject, and he's done a lot of in-depth things, and I think his presentation is pretty spot on for what's going to come. Like I said, I'll put the links there. So I want to refer to Psalm 83. If a lot of you guys don't know, the Psalms are songs that were written by, many of them by King David and also other prophets, and by order of the king, which is King David at the time. And they wrote songs for the Levitical priests and others to sing and praise God. So the particular prophet that wrote Psalm 83 is Asaph, and that's spelled A-S-A-P-H. He was David's worship leader and also a prophet. He wrote Psalm 83 as well as 12 of the books of Psalms. He wrote Psalm 50 and then Psalm 73 through 83. And this was all written around the time of King David. As Bill Salus also states in his video, he states that he believes that the wars that have taken place until now in Israel between the Arabs and Israel have not fulfilled the prophecy completely, and I agree with him. And that would be the wars that took place in 1948, 1967, 1973. I believe that the wars we're about to see are going to be the wars that are going to end the Arab and Israeli conflict. And it's going to be with the utter destruction of nations like Iran and the cities of Damascus. If you saw the map that I posted of the Promised Land, there's also something that's going on right now in public that is being chanted by the protesters, the ones that are in support of Gaza in the United States, and they keep saying from the river to the sea. And this is a reference of theft because Abraham, his descendants, specifically Isaac, and then through Jacob, okay, the people that are in Gaza are descendants of Ishmael, okay. There are many people that are saying the division of Jacob and Esau. There is a division there, however, and many of the descendants of Esau are going to be coming against Israel. However, I believe that the deeper level of deception will come from the lineage of Ishmael, okay? I want to read over and go over some more of these things that were talked about in Psalm 83 verses 6 through 8. Okay, the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and Hagarites, Jabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Assur also joined with them. They have the hopeland of the children of Lot. Okay, I want to go over some of these. And again, these are referenced by Bill Salas. So this is specifics for Psalm 83 war. These are the specific groups. Edom, and it speaks of them as the tabernacles or the tents, which is kind of references like refugees, or like when you think of tents, you think of like refugees or temporary military encampments and stuff like that. Those are referencing the Palestinians, and as you can tell, a lot of their buildings and structures and things were kind of set up in a haphazard way quickly. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are very firm, solid concrete buildings, but still a lot of the building was not very well planned out. It was more like a, slapped together really, quickly. The Ishmaelites, that's Saudi Arabia. Moab, that's kind of the central Jordan area. Hagarites, that's Egypt. So these are ones that are going to be in this conflict that are coming up. We've got Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt. Let me go on to the next one. The next one here is going to be the Ammon, which is northern Jordan, Amalek, which is Sinai, which is part of Egypt, and the Philistines, which we know are Palestinians or Hamas. The inhabitants of Tyre, which is also like inhabitations, like the tents or the temporary military encampments. And those are like, that's Lebanon and Hezbollah. Those will all be involved in this attack. And what I believe is going to happen is they're going to become so riled up, so angry about what's occurring, that they're going to see this as their opportunity to attack and destroy Israel. And they're all going to go and attack. But they're all going to be completely defeated by Israel. I'm not saying Israel's not going to be harmed, because there are verses that speak about the pain that will occur in Israel and the suffering, that it will Jacob will wax thin, and other verses like that are also talked about. But also the strength of the governors of Jerusalem and the tribes of Judah will be like supernaturally strong. They'll be very, very devastating to their adversaries. They're going to annihilate them. If you read I also want to propose a possibility of why Israel's security and intelligence failed. Many of you may know, some of you may not. Since 2019, Israel has been using AI technology to help them focus on military targets and battle assessments in real time. They've been doing a lot of work with what's going on with Ukraine with that, but it may have been a failure on the part of AI to alert them what was occurring with the surprise attack. I'm not covering for them. I'm not saying there's not culpability there. I am saying that that is a possibility, because they are using that. A lot of people believe 1948 was the fulfillment of Psalm 83. I don't believe that's the case. I believe when we see the fulfillment of Psalm 83, we're going to see these nations that are immediately around Israel, not the ones that are further out, like Ezekiel 38 and 39. It has not begun yet. My previous video was not saying it's begun yet. It was saying that it is very close to coming. So please understand that I know that it has not yet begun. However, there are some people out there like Steve Ciccalante that say that the rider, the white horse rider, has been riding for 3.5 years. That is absolutely false. The Antichrist has not come onto the scene, and we're going to see the Antichrist come onto the scene because he's going to, with all of these events, he's going to broker a peace deal through all of this. That's going to be the 7-year peace treaty that he confirms. And then later, 3.5 years through it, breaks by going to Jerusalem, the newly rebuilt temple that they've started sacrifices again. That's part of the peace deal negotiations. And he's going to, I believe, sit upon the mercy seat in the holiest of holies and proclaim himself to be God, possibly cut his own blood and sprinkle it on the mercy seat as well. That's what I believe is going to be the abomination of desolations. Many people believe it's going to be like some sort of a statue that has AI incorporated in it. I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. I just don't think that that's going to be the event of the abomination of desolations. So let me try to go over some more of this stuff that I wrote down here. So if you read Psalm 83, 9 through 13, it says, do unto them, unto the Midianites, as to Sisera and Jabin and the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb and like Zeb, yea, all their princes of Zeblah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God and possessions. Oh my God, make them like a wheel, as stubble before the wind. Now, here's why this verse is so important. I want to re-emphasize it. It says, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Okay, the protesters that are chanting in the streets, that are supporting Gaza and Hamas, the Palestinians, they are saying from the river to the sea, and that is the promised land, from the Nile River in Egypt all the way to the Euphrates River on the coasts, on the areas of Iraq and Iran. But also, when they say the sea, the Red Sea, and then also the Sea of Galilee. And it also mentions the waterway by Gaza or Palestine. So they're speaking of taking the promised land that was given to the Jews. So this Psalm 83 fulfills that. I'm getting like goosebumps speaking about it, because it's saying, they are saying, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. This is why God is going to obliterate them and allow that to happen. Okay, so the next one, a lot of this is spoken of in Judges 4, Judges 5, Judges 6, Judges 7, Judges 8. All of this is in relation to what I'm speaking about. So when you hear the Psalm 83, Isaiah 17, Ezekiel 30 and 39, there are all kinds of woven in facts where they reference other books of the Bible that will give you more background. And that's the kind of research and study you guys need to put in if you want to thoroughly understand what's going on. I mean, you can take it as deep as you want to take it. You can make the relationship with God as deep as you want. If you don't, God's going to say, depart from me, I know you not, because you're not taking it to that next level. You have the ability to dig deeper, because it is layer upon layer upon layer of just absolute phenomenal things that are going to occur. If you read Zechariah 12, 3 through 7, it talks about what's going to occur and what's occurring now. And it talks about the making of Jerusalem a burdensome stone. And I want to read that real quick. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and his rider with madness. And I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah, and I will smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength in the Lord of hosts, their God. In that day will I make the governors of Judah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. And they shall devour all the people round about on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in her own place, even in Jerusalem. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, and the glory of the house of David, and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Okay, and the reason why he's saying that about the house of David and Judah is because Jesus is from the tribe of Judah. That's why they call the Lion of the tribe of Judah. That's Jesus, okay? So when these things are fulfilled, the governors of Judah are going to be fierce, and they're going to destroy and devour everything around them. Jordan is going to join the war against Israel due to the Temple Mount control. So in order to rebuild the third temple, the Jewish people are going to have to regain control of the Temple Mount, and that's going to infuriate Jordan. Previously, I had thought Jordan would remain peaceful, would remain out of it. I have reassessed my position on that, and I was incorrect. I thoroughly believe that Jordan will be a part of these attacks, and they will be destroyed. They will be displaced. Now, they will not be utterly taken away, because the Jewish people will later, once the Antichrist goes into the temple and proclaims himself to be God, the believers that come to Christ, or that know at that time that the false shepherd, or the main end times Antichrist, who goes and sits in the temple proclaiming himself that he's God, is false, and they will flee into what I believe is Petra. Okay, so that's where I believe Jordan will not be completely obliterated, as far as like uninhabitable. Now, Damascus will be uninhabitable. No one will ever be able to inhabit that again, as well as Mystery Babylon. And there's some people that speak about, I think his name is Pastor Joe Fox. He's in the, I want to bring a message to him. He's in the Ozarks in the mountains. And he talks a lot about come out of her, my people. And he wants to take people up into the mountains of the United States. They're not safe there. Pastor Joe Fox, you're deceiving those people. They are not going to be safe there. They're not going to be safe there. Anybody listening to him, do not believe him. I know there's a lot of great people up there. I actually went up there, and I almost bought some land up there bordering the Ozarks. But the land deal fell through. It didn't go through. And I believe that that happened for a purpose. I believe that we're called to leave the United States of America. I don't believe that there's going to be anywhere safe within the boundaries of the United States. And I believe the United States is clearly Mystery Babylon and will be destroyed utterly and completely. And it will not be inhabitable again. So, you know, these people, and I don't know, maybe he has a underground bunker that everybody's going to go into, and he probably does. There's a lot of caves and mines and stuff up there, and limestone, but they're not going to be able to come out of that bunker if they do, because the U.S. is not going to be inhabitable again. Mystery Babylon. Once that occurs, the Bible's very clear. It will be completely uninhabitable. So I want to go into some more of what I was reading. Okay, Jeremiah 49:2. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will cause an alarm of war to be heard in Rabbah of the Ammonites, and it shall be a desolate heap, and her daughters shall be burnt with fire. Then shall Israel be heir unto them that were her heirs, saith the Lord. And that's in reference to Ammon wanting control of the Temple Mount, and the Jews being able to rebuild the temple, and that's their inheritance. And once they destroy Ammon and Jordan, that control over the Temple Mount is gone. No more. Bye-bye. And this is going to occur very soon. Very, very soon. I want to also read Zephaniah 2:8-15. I have heard the reproach of Moab and the revelings of the children of Ammon, whereby They have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and Moab is central Jordan. Surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah. And we know Sodom and Gomorrah, hellfire and brimstone fell. Even the breeding of nettles and sow pits, and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of the Lord of hosts. That's the Israeli people. The Lord will be terrible unto them, unto the Jordan people, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and the men shall worship him. They'll worship the one and only true living God, every one from his place, even all the isles of the heathen, even all the islands around the world of the non-believers. Even, yea, the Ethiopians also, ye shall be slain by my sword. So it says that when the Ethiopians come against Israel, they'll also be slain by the sword. And he will stretch out his hand against the north and destroy Assyria. So that means Syria is also going to be in this battle, and they're going to be destroyed as well. And will make Nineveh a desolation, and dry like a wilderness, and flocks shall lie down in the midst of her. All the beasts of the nations, both the cormorant and the bitter, shall lodge in the upper lintels of it, and their voice shall sing in the windows. Desolation shall be in the thresholds, for he shall uncover the cedar work. This is the rejoining city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How is she become a desolation, a place for the beast to lie down, and everyone that passes by her shall hiss and wag his hand. Zephaniah 2:8-15. That's paralleling Isaiah chapter 17, where it talks about the utter destruction of Damascus. And you know, Saul, who later was renamed Paul, was blinded on the road to Damascus. The city's been around forever, and it's going to be brought to utter waste. And obviously, it hasn't taken place yet. So, with that, I also want to bring a little more about from the river to the sea. The Promised Land includes modern-day Israel, including Gaza and the West Bank, and Jordan, as well as parts of Egypt, Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Iraq. Protesters chanting from the river to the sea. That's in reference to Genesis chapter 12, verses 6-7. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shittim, unto the plain of Moreh. And the Canaanite was then in the land, and the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord who appeared unto him. Genesis 12, 6-7. Okay? I'm getting to the verse where it speaks specifically of the river. I want to come read that out real quick. Okay, so that's Genesis 15, verse 18. In that same day, the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land from the river of Egypt, which is the Nile River, unto the great river, the river Euphrates, which is all the way against Iran. Okay, so that's the specific verse that these Philistines, the Palestinians, Hamas, the supporters of Gaza, Palestine, they're reading Genesis 15:18, and they're trying to steal the promise from the promised children of Abraham. And it's not Ishmael, it's Isaac, because Isaac was the one that was offered in a foreshadowing of a sacrifice of the only begotten son, like Jesus was crucified in the place. Isaac was taken up to the mountain by Abraham to sacrifice, and God told him to do it, and he was going to do it. And God, the angel of the Lord, stopped him. And there was a ram with its horn stuck in a bush next to the altar. They found a ram to be the sacrifice, because even when they were going up to the top of the mountain, Isaac made comments that, hey, where's our sacrifice? And Abraham said, God will provide. That's one reason why the Jewish people use a hollowed out ram's horn to blow as the shofar is because it was stuck in the bush by its horns. I want to read some more about the promised land, the covenant that God made with Abraham. Exodus 23:31, and I will set thy bounds from the Red Sea, even unto the sea of the Philistines, and from the desert unto the river, and that's another mention of the Euphrates, to the Nile. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. All of these prophecies are going to be fulfilled. It's so exciting to see what's coming. Here's another one, Genesis 26:3-4. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all of these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thee, thy seed these countries, and in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Genesis 28:13-14. And beheld, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham thy father, and the God of Isaac. The land whereon thou liest, where thou liest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed, and to thy seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and thou shalt spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south, and in thee and thy seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. These are all references of why the chosen promised child of Abraham. And remember, Abraham and Sarah failed because Abraham was promised the son, but was getting old, and Sarah and him agreed to let Abraham sleep with Sarah's servant, Hagar, and they birthed Ishmael, who was the firstborn son of Abraham, but not the promised son, because Isaac was the son that Abraham took to the top of the mountain and offered as a sacrifice, and was going to sacrifice him, not Ishmael. So that's where the promise comes from. Okay, Genesis 17:8-9, and I will give unto thee and thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant, therefore thou and thy seed after thee in their generations. Okay, so with all of that being said, I just want to say, please support me. I'm going to put a link in my stories. If you guys want to support me, I would love to quit my job and do videos full time for the Lord, and also do other work for him, not just make videos, but actually get out and donate my time, more so to help people. If you guys would like to send stuff, I'm gonna start putting like my budget and my bills, as far as like what my normal living requirements are. Hopefully I can get to a point where I can meet those, so I can do this full time, because I'd really like to donate more time to the Lord. And I hope that you guys are blessed by my videos, and I like to come to you guys humbly. And I want to also suggest that you repent, change your mind, turn away from your sins, call on Jesus Christ to save you, to come into your heart, to cleanse you, to wash you clean with his precious blood. Let him be your atonement. And this is found in the book of Romans, and I'm going to post more things with the end of my video that have to do with coming to salvation. I hope this was a blessing for you guys. If you confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that God rose Jesus from the dead, you will be saved. Okay? God bless you guys. I pray that you are all listening, awake and aware, and prepared for what's coming. Because what we're about to see is going to be probably the most devastating war ever visually seen by the world at one time.